Okay, so I'm just going to do a short video on some of the top stock picks as of the 8th of March 2021. So first one on the screen is Airtel Africa PLC. So we can see here this company was incorporated in the middle of 2019. What we can see here on the Hargreaves Lansdown page is number one, it's got a dividend yield of 6%. So if I was to put £10,000 currently at 78 pence, and over the course of the year, if that price stayed the same, I would make £600 on this stock. And if we look down below here, it was still paying that dividend throughout the pandemic, which is really positive. So if we look a little bit closer at the company, so one of the first things I always look at is value wise, and the simplest value assessment that I use is market cap against the actual accounting book value. So here we can see all those shares at 78 pence, value the company at 2.9 billion. If I go onto financials, we will see what the accounting book value is. So this is down the bottom here, 3.28 billion. So straight away that tells me that this stock fundamentally is trading above its net asset value. So it's valued at, below its net asset value, so it's valued at 3.28. It's trading at 2.9, so straight away there's a discount there of 30% between the price of the stock and the actual value of the company according to an accountant. So the next thing I want to look at is, well, does this company make good money? So we can see down here its last set of results, 31st of March 2020, 3.4 billion turnover, up on the previous year by about 10%. And then profit before tax was up significantly. You can see there 600 million versus 350 million. So recently, how has it done throughout the pandemic? So that was to the 31st of March. I can see here that it's released some results for the 9 months to the 31st of December. And again, straight away at the top here, you can see they put it all in red and really made a song and dance about it. But they've done 2.85 billion revenue compared to 2.5 for the same period last year. So it's a 19% growth. And EBITDA, which is your earnings before interest, tax, depreciation, and amortization, which is a common measure of a company's profit or earnings, is you can see that's increased 22.5%. What's really interesting though is that this company already had a high profit margin, and it's managed to actually increase that whilst doing high revenue. So that shows that this is a real growth company that's, although the revenue's gone up, it's still squeezing out more profit, which is really positive. So what do Airtel Africa do? So Airtel Africa are a telecoms provider on the continent of Africa. So there's 14 different countries they currently operate in, and it's probably where there's a bit of a 3G, 4G boom going on in Africa at the minute. So they don't have the infrastructure like the UK does in place. So when we actually move across from, say, 4G to 5G, there's a lot of spend involved in that. If you think we've already got all of that infrastructure in place for 4G, we basically have to upgrade all of that. It's not a case of just building a new tower. It's a case of going to the old tower, ripping out the old parts, assessing what you need to do to make that 5G network. Africa, it's completely different. So that infrastructure is obviously not there. So it's a lot easier to go somewhere, start afresh, put the infrastructure in place, and then start getting the benefit a lot sooner. And that's the issue we've had, for example, with BT over here is Openreach. All that cabling that had to be changed to fibre, that would have been so much simpler in Africa or a country where they don't already have that infrastructure, because you're just laying the cable. In the UK, you've got to find that cable, you've got to remove the cable, you've got to replace the cable, and then you've got to make sure the system all still operates. Much easier for a telecoms company in Africa, and that's what Airtel's really seeing here. They're really benefiting from that. So what I want to look at next is the technical side of it. So we already know this company looks like a great investment opportunity. If we look at the price in action, we want to try and find an entry point. So here we can see the company when it was incorporated. So initial price on offering was around 67 pence. And this is actually acted as support and resistance. So this horizontal line, you can see the price broke below it, hit it, bounced back. It then broke above it, hit it there, bounced off, broke above it here, went back, hit it, bounced back off. And then here you can see hit it, bounced back off, and then it broke above. And then once again it hit it and it bounced up. Same again with this resistance here. You can see we hit it up the top, it all went down, and then here we had resistance, dipped, exploded above, and it gapped below it, which is an important thing, and I'll come on to later. And then we had resistance, 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 resistance. So there's a real important zone there that we're currently trading in. We're in a real tight channel there. And what I want to look at now is what price actions actually happened in the past. So we had an acceleration up here, and then we consolidated, and we had this trend line, this kind of ascending triangle. And then you can see here we had this large resistance. We broke above it. So again, similar to this here, if we look at that move, it's pretty much the exact same. Up, back down, back up, back down, back up. And then we come down, we consolidate, and then oh look again, and we're starting to build up that coiled price action. And it's been really strict within these two resistance lines, which is really good to see, because it means there's more kind of there's more energy there. So if you think of it as a spring, the longer you coil it up and the tighter you close it together, the larger the move is. So here you can see we had a bit of coiling and then explosion, coiling, explosion. If this can really coil up here, we could see a large explosion again, and that's what we're basically betting on here. We're betting on history repeating itself, but it's a bet that's backed up by the fundamentals. We can see here it's actually a really good company with really good growth prospects. So the area that I'm watching, I'm actually bought in here at 75 pence, around about this level here, it hit my buy order. And what I'm really looking for now is to basically hold this until that explosion happens. We can see here there was a 66% gain. That's exactly what I'm looking for here again, a 66% gain. So moving on to my next stocks. So if we look at gold, so I've flashed this up before. What I want to pick out on gold is we had this large bull flag, so this run up, consolidation, and this is some areas that I marked before. So we've got this trend line here, we've got resistance, resistance, and then it looks like we're going to have hopefully resistance here as well. And then likewise at the top here, sorry, this is all support. You've got resistance at the top, support at the bottom. And what I want to look at here is basically this move off the resistance. We can see it went up. It went up 11%. So if I can gain an 11% move here, it takes me into this zone. I'm going to target 1900. So what I'm kind of expecting to happen is this level here, the price will stay here for long. We'll see an explosion up towards this resistance, consolidate, and then up towards this 1900 level where again it'll bounce off. If we look at this time period, so 30th of November to start of January, so 2 months. Again, if we look here, so we look at the start of March, and then if we look to the start of May, so if we look again for that 2-month period. So what stocks in the UK could I invest in to get exposure to this run up? So I'm going to show you a stock here called Centamin. So these guys operate in Egypt. Similar to Airtel, they're incredibly profitable. See, with the price of gold being high in 2019, they made a good return. It's been even higher in 2020. They're due to report some results, so I can see they have an earnings call that comes up here on the 22nd of March. And again, if we look at this, again it pays a dividend, but if we look at this price action, so if we look at Centamin, so what's happened on Centamin now? If we go back in the chart, you can see we kind of had this long period of kind of consolidation around this channel. And we've got this level of resistance mapped out here, and this level of support here, and this level of resistance here. So start with this resistance. So let me just get rid of that line. So what we can see on this chart then is we've got drop down here, bounce, broke above, and then here in March we had a drop down around this level, and then what we're seeing now is we're approaching that £1 level again. If we look at the top here, we've got some resistance. So obviously here we had a lot of price action. We see it went above, back tested, exploded off, went down, back tested. Here resistance. So there's a large resistance level there at that £1.37 level. And again, we can see here where it's touched. So basically, we're trapped back within this channel again. What I want to look at now, though, is how this compares to gold. So if I look at gold, we had a run up here at this March low, up to the top here, which was a 41% increase. So if I look at Centamin, that same time period then, so where is my peak? My peak's up here. And what's that from the March low? It's 160%. So I had a 40% increase in gold, which yielded a 160% increase in Centamin. So that tells me that sentiment is highly correlated to the price of gold. So this is something called beta, and it basically measures how much does a stock move in comparison to an index. So say if the FTSE 100 went up 1%, if the stock went up 1%, you have a beta of 1. In this case, sentiment went up 4 times the amount gold went up. So sentiment is significantly linked to the price of gold. As you'd expect, it's a gold miner. The higher the gold price, the more money you make as a gold miner. Likewise, so gold has come down by 20%. Sentiment has dropped by 60%. Okay, so there's a beta there of 3. It's still significantly linked to that price of gold. So what am I expecting now? If I'm forecasting gold to go up 11%, I'm expecting sentiment to go up 30 to 40%. So let's look at this chart then. So if I'm at £1 a share, I'm expecting sentiment to go up to 130 to 140, which is exactly where this resistance is. And this is where, when you kind of look at charts and you kind of look at how they behave, it kind of ties in that there's an opportunity here for a bounce off this line of around about 30 to 40%, which just in fact corresponds with this historic level of resistance and support. So that's what I'm planning on sentiment. If now I look at a different scenario, so if I look at silver, which is kind of gold's twin, if we kind of look at it that way, so it's another commodity. Again, I've got these lines of resistance and support. So here you see, hit it, drop down, hit it, drop down. Here we see we broke above, had a little bit of consolidation there, broke above, and you can just see it's bouncing there off it. And then if we go back in the chart, you can see there's these areas here where it all kind of started out, and again with the resistance you can see here, bounce up, oh, hit, bounce down. So there's all this history to this price action. So recently what we've seen in silver is a rally, and you can see I've marked out that we've actually broken down from this level here, but what we've entered is this high level of activity. So we've got this strong zone, and this is a support resistance zone. So you see there's a lot of price action happening here. We go up, bounce off, go up, bounce off, go up, bounce off, go up, bounce off, break through, go up, bounce back up, go back, get stuck in, bounce off, back down, bounce off, back down, and we've broken into it again. So I think there's an opportunity here in silver, similar to gold, to see an increase back up to this level here. And what I'd do to trade that is I'd actually look at this company called Fresnillo. So Fresnillo is a FTSE 100, a blue chip company. It's traded on the main index in the UK here. It's got 6.6 billion market cap. You see 2020 turned over 2.4 billion, made 550 million, and it's predominantly a silver miner. So it's the world's largest silver miner, and it's actually the top gold producer in Mexico. So this is effectively not putting all your eggs in one basket like gold, but you've got silver and gold, and you're going to trade them both together. I mean, they are fairly correlated, silver and gold, but basically what you're doing here is just spreading it, and you're not putting it all on sentiment. You're looking at a producer that's in both. I mean, Fresnillo is more in silver than gold, but if we actually look at the chart on Fresnillo, so the chart's really interesting. So you've got this one thick line here of support and resistance. So if we go back, you can see resistance, 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 and then what we've got here is something called confluence. So I really want to point out on this that we've got this rising sort of wedge pattern, which you can see the price broke above it just where this resistance is, and it effectively broke above both, and then it absolutely shot up. So if you were trading this, if you were looking back and you were going, right, okay, so I've got this level of resistance coming up, I've got the top of this wedge, if this price goes above there, I could expect a large increase. I've got a rising RSI, so basically I've got a negative divergence, the price is coming down, but the strength behind that fall in price is weakening, which is telling me the bulls are taking control. And now what we've seen is the price rise up, consolidate, begin to break down, but we've hit this level of support. And what we can see last time, we hit this level of support and we had an increase of, let's just have a look at this. So we hit that support and we went up, oh look, 33 to 40%, so 33%, which again, it kind of all ties in that there's something going on here that's looking for a move. We've hit that again. Don't know if we'll get 30% again out of it, but I'd expect to get way back up here into this support resistance zone, which again, it's looking at a 20% increase. That, to be honest, is a level of congestion that I'd be looking at entering out of the trade. So if we just summarize, so we've got Artel, which is a long-term investment opportunity, and it's getting the timing right, which looks now. We've then got gold and we've got silver, and I'd enter that through sentiment. One thing I didn't mention on sentiment is we have this strong negative divergence that's going on. So the price is coming down, but the actual strength from the bulls is increasing. So the selling pressure is becoming less and the buying power is becoming more. And this is really poised for a move up. I'm in all three of these stocks at the minute. But these plays are looking really good from a chartist point of view and a fundamental point of view in terms of Airtel. For gold, not so much because you've got a strengthening dollar. But again, that dollar, it'll need to take a breather at some point, and this could be that consolidation in the dollar, and we get a little spike up in gold that we can trade.